Look at your hands. Look at the glowing rectangle you are holding right now. You think it is a tool. You think it is a portal to information. It is not. It is a leash. Right now, at this exact moment, you're the victim of the most sophisticated, devastating heist in human history. They are not stealing your money. They are not stealing your physical property. They are stealing the absolute foundation of your existence, your attention. You are living as a digital zombie, a passive observer in your own timeline, scrolling through a never-ending river of meaningless noise while your actual life evaporates. You do not control your own mind anymore. An algorithm, running on a server thousands of miles away, is actively dictating what you will feel, what you will fear, and what you will desire for the next 10 seconds. You have surrendered the gates of your inner citadel without a single drop of blood being spilled. You have willingly handed over the throne of your consciousness. If you are exhausted by the endless scrolling, if you are sick of being a puppet to a piece of glass, and if you are ready to reclaim your cognitive sovereignty to build an unbreakable attention span, subscribe to Core Wisdom. We do not offer cheap entertainment or digital pacifiers. We provide the heavy, brutal, necessary truths of ancient philosophy to help you take your mind back from the machine. Subscribe now and let us close the gates. We have fundamentally misunderstood the nature of the modern digital landscape. We call these devices phones or apps, words that imply passive utility. We treat them like hammers or cars, things we use and then put away. But they have evolved far past utility. They are behavioral modification engines designed by the brightest psychological minds on the planet with one singular, ruthless objective: to hijack your dopamine system and keep your eyes glued to the screen until you die. You sit on your couch, exhausted from a day of mediocre effort, and you open a feed. You tell yourself it is just for 5 minutes to unwind. 2 hours later, you emerge from a hypnotic trance, feeling emptier, more anxious, and deeply dissatisfied with your own reality. You call this a bad habit. It is not a habit. It is a highly engineered cognitive invasion. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote a blistering critique of human foolishness called On the Shortness of Life. He observed a bizarre paradox in human behavior. People are violently protective of their physical property. If a stranger tried to take a foot of their land, they would go to war. They guard their money with locks and weapons. Yet when it comes to their time and their attention, they freely hand it over to anyone who asks. Seneca wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." If Seneca were alive today to witness you staring blankly at a screen for 6 hours a day, watching strangers dance or arguing with anonymous avatars, he would be horrified by your pathetic submission. You are guarding your bank account with passwords and firewalls, but you are leaving the vault of your consciousness wide open for trillion-dollar tech corporations to loot 24 hours a day. You are treating your attention like garbage, throwing it at whatever flashing color or outrage-inducing headline passes across your vision.
You must internalize this profound truth. Your attention is not just a cognitive function. Your attention is the literal fabric of your reality. What you pay attention to becomes your life. If you pay attention to manufactured outrage, your life becomes a state of constant, vibrating anger. If you pay attention to the curated, mathematically perfect illusions of other people's lives, your life becomes a shallow cycle of inadequacy and jealousy. When you allow an algorithm to dictate your focus, you are literally allowing a corporation to author your reality. You are selling your finite, unrecoverable life, second by second, in exchange for tiny, cheap hits of digital dopamine that leave you starving, anxious, and hollow.
The Stoics practiced a discipline called prosoche, which translates to continuous, vigilant attention. It is the absolute foundation of the inner citadel. A fortress is useless if the guards are asleep at the gates. Right now, your guards are not just asleep, they have been bribed, drugged, and compromised. Every time your phone vibrates and you instantly, reflexively abandon a conversation with a loved one, or break your deep work to check a notification, you are demonstrating a terrifying lack of free will. You are reacting to a stimulus like a laboratory rat pressing a lever for a pellet. You have traded your human sovereignty for the behavior of a domesticated animal. This constant, fractured state of partial attention is destroying your ability to do anything of actual value. Greatness requires depth. Building an empire, forging a profound relationship, or mastering a complex skill requires hours of unbroken, agonizingly deep focus. But you cannot go deep anymore. Your brain has been neurologically rewired to crave a new stimulus every 15 seconds. You have become a creature of the shallows, skimming the surface of existence, terrified of the quiet depths where actual character is forged. The modern world has not just stolen your time, it has stolen your capacity for depth. You convince yourself that you are merely multitasking. You proudly declare that you can work, watch a video, and reply to messages all at the exact same time. This is a biological delusion. The human brain does not multitask. It rapidly switches contexts. And every single time you yank your attention from a deep, meaningful task to check a vibrating piece of plastic, you leave behind what neuroscientists call attention residue. You are smearing your cognitive power across a dozen useless digital interactions, leaving you exhausted, fragmented, and incapable of producing anything of true significance. You are mistaking frantic digital movement for actual momentum. You are running on a treadmill designed by a corporation, sweating profusely, and going absolutely nowhere. The emperor, Marcus Aurelius, ruled a territory that stretched across 3 continents. He commanded legions, managed an economy, and dealt with constant betrayal. Yet, amidst the absolute chaos of running the known world, he recognized that his most critical task was guarding the gates of his own perception. He wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." Look at the color of your soul right now. It is painted in the neon, chaotic, anxiety-inducing hues of a social media feed. It is stained by the manufactured outrage of the 24-hour news cycle. You are voluntarily poisoning the well of your own mind and wondering why you feel sick every time you take a drink. You must understand the brutal economics of your existence. You believe your money is your wealth, so you protect it. But your money is renewable. Your time is finite, and your attention is the only mechanism you have to actually experience that time. When you give away your attention to a mindless algorithm, you are not just wasting an hour. You are actively deleting an hour of your life from your own conscious experience. You are literally funding the empires of tech billionaires with the unrecoverable minutes of your own mortality. They are mining your lifespan, extracting your focus, and selling it to advertisers, while you are left sitting in the dark, wondering where the years went. Why do we do this? Why do we voluntarily submit to this cognitive slavery? Because the alternative is terrifying. The alternative is boredom. The alternative is silence. And the modern mind is absolutely terrified of silence. When you strip away the notifications, the infinite scroll, and the digital noise, you are left alone in a room with your own thoughts. You are forced to confront the raw, unedited reality of your life. You are forced to look at your unfulfilled ambitions, your deteriorating relationships, and your lack of discipline. The screen is not a tool for connection. It is a highly sophisticated anesthetic. You are using it to numb the painful friction of your own mediocrity. Every time you reach for your phone in an elevator, at a red light, or while waiting in line, You are confessing your inability to sit with yourself for 60 seconds. You are fleeing from the present moment as if it is a burning building. But the present moment is the only place where the inner citadel can be built. You cannot construct a fortress of character while you are simultaneously living in a fractured digital fantasy. The sovereign mind requires deep, unshakable roots, and you cannot put down roots if you are constantly pulling them up to check if a stranger validated your existence. To stop the hemorrhage of your attention, you must realize that you are in a state of asymmetric warfare. You are bringing a primitive, dopamine-craving primate brain to a gunfight against supercomputers and thousands of engineers whose only job is to break your willpower. You cannot win this war with casual intentions. You cannot win by simply telling yourself you will scroll less tomorrow. Tomorrow is the graveyard of the week. You need a brutal, uncompromising system of defense.
You must become the ruthless architect of your own focus. You must implement the protocol of the attention heist reversal. To execute the attention heist reversal, you must immediately stop relying on your pathetic willpower. Willpower is a finite, easily depleted resource, and the algorithm will crush it every single time. You are bringing a wooden shield to a drone strike. You must replace willpower with attention architecture. You must build physical and environmental barricades to protect your mind, treating your focus with the same ruthless paranoia that a king uses to guard his treasury. Step 1 is the establishment of untouchable zones. You must draw a hard, uncompromising line in the sand of your daily routine.
For the first hour after you wake up and the final hour before you go to sleep, your device does not exist. It is not on your nightstand. It is not in your hand. You do not check the news. You do not check your messages. And you do not surrender the fresh, uncorrupted canvas of your morning mind to the chaotic, manufactured emergencies of the digital world. You use that hour to fortify the inner citadel. You read heavy text, you write your thoughts, you train your physical body, or you simply sit in the glorious, terrifying silence of your own existence. You reclaim the dawn and the dusk, proving to your nervous system that you are the absolute master of your own day. Step 2 is the practice of strategic boredom. You have completely fried your dopamine receptors. You have trained your brain to expect a high-definition, emotionally charged reward every 3 seconds. You must starve the digital parasite. You must intentionally subject yourself to the agonizing friction of a slow, unstimulating reality. When you are waiting in line for coffee, you do not reach for your phone. You stand there. You look at the back of the head of the person in front of you, and you endure the boredom. You let your mind wander without a digital leash. Once a week, you will execute a total dopamine fast. For 24 hours, you will consume 0 algorithmic entertainment, no infinite scroll, no streaming video, no artificial stimulation. You will feel the physical withdrawal. Your brain will scream at you, begging for a cheap hit of pixelated colors. Your hands will literally twitch, looking for the phantom weight of the device. Let it scream. You are going to sit in a room, you are going to look at the wall, and you are going to reacquaint yourself with the person you have been actively avoiding for the last decade. You will allow your overheated nervous system to finally cool down. You will rediscover the profound, forgotten superpower of simply being alive without needing to be entertained. Epictetus laid down a fundamental law of human sovereignty. No man is free who is not master of himself. Read that again. If you cannot sit still for 10 minutes without compulsively reaching into your pocket to check a glowing screen, you are not a free individual. You are a biological puppet dancing on silicon strings. You are a slave to a piece of glass. The world is fighting a brutal, invisible war for your mind. Every notification is a sniper taking aim at your potential. Every infinite scroll is a trench dug into your finite lifespan. But you are no longer a passive casualty in this war. You are the commander of the gates. When you control your attention, you control your reality. You become a highly dangerous, undeniable force. You become capable of deep thought, profound creation, and unshakable peace. Things the modern world desperately lacks and heavily penalizes. You strip the algorithms of their power by simply refusing to look at them. You place the crown of cognitive sovereignty back onto your own head. The machine wants you distracted, anxious, and entirely compliant. It wants you to live a shallow, fragmented life, completely unaware of the massive, untapped reservoir of power lying dormant inside your own mind. It is time to close the vault. It is time to aggressively defend the only currency that actually matters. Your attention is your life. Do not give it to a machine. If you are ready to sever the digital leash, if you are prepared to endure the friction of reality and build an empire of focus that belongs entirely to you, subscribe to Core Wisdom. We are not here to be consumed by the noise. We are here to command the silence. Walk with us.